Let's queer up politics. LGBTQ plus policy organization releases report about effort to erase LGBTQ plus identities nationwide. Movement Advancement Project, or MAP, an organization tracking policies on LGBTQ plus issues and voting, reports that bans on gender-affirming care are just the start of a, quote, coordinated effort to eliminate LGBTQ plus people of all ages from public life, end quote. MAP's 5-part report on the national trend, titled Under Fire, notes that states are restricting access to gender-affirming care for transgender youth and adults, passing religious exemptions to deny medical care for LGBTQ plus people, increasing the difficulty of obtaining accurate identity documents listing trans people's correct gender identity, censoring coverage of LGBTQ plus issues in school, and increasing the targeted harassment and violence of queer people, all while eroding voting rights. Overall, MAP found that states with the highest rankings for LGBTQ plus equality also have the highest rankings for democracy and voting rights. Similarly, most states that score poorly for LGBTQ plus equality also score lower on democracy and voting rights. 11 states have voter ID laws that bans on ballot drop boxes, and 9 states allow their legislatures to interfere in elections. Numerous states have gerrymandered districts that make it harder to elect pro-LGBTQ plus legislators and vote out anti-LGBTQ plus ones. Naomi Goldberg, MAP's deputy director and LGBTQ policy director, said, quote, as horrifying political attacks continue targeting LGBTQ plus people, especially transgender people, it's critical that we keep advocating for voting rights and the principles of democracy that help us to move forward an inclusive vision for the world, end quote. It's quite a research. It's quite the thing that they're looking into, and I think it's quite the thing that they need to be looking into, because as we realize how these legislatures keep moving forward to silence not just the physical health care of the side of it, they're also trying to silence our First Amendment right and how we get to speak and how we get to show who we are, not just physically, but who we get to show who we are verbally. Because a lot of who we are is what we show other people, not just visibly, but through our words. And if we can't express who we are through not just our politics and who we have representing us, who are we? We're having people represent us that aren't really representing us. They're not who we are. They're not who we want to be. So why have them in office?
No, you're absolutely right. And I think, MAP, by the way, I've worked with them and they are a great organization. They're almost like the ACLU or other organizations that they really do bring in a lot of information and go to their website because they really just have lots of stuff. The one thing that I thought was really interesting about this report was what we have, or at least what I have thought to be true, that in blue states, which tend to be more progressive, and that there are greater tendencies for LGBTQ individuals to be accepted, there's also better voting rights as well too. And then in those states, the 17 or 18 states that have been impacting all of these issues for LGBTQ people, those are the ones that there have been negative impacts on voting. And so these issues are being tied together, and it's actually being proven through empirical evidence here. And it's very important for us to understand it, not to shame somebody, but to be able to understand that this is what's happening. And these issues are getting bundled together like this.
Yeah, I want to join in celebrating MAP because reports like Under Fire are information that I would use as a legal advocate in bringing a case, bringing a litigation against organizations who are bigoted or in order to defend LGBTQ clients. And when I started in all of this, I started at an internship at Human Rights Watch, where we would have this world reports of human rights conditions around the world, and you would see these types of reports from other countries like African nations or countries that are really, really not yet in terms of equality, not in the US. And here we're 2023, and this is the type of conditions that we're living in as LGBTQ plus people is worrisome.
Yes.
But we're resilient.
Yeah, you know who this does not come as a surprise to? Republicans.
Yeah.
The fascist Republicans. They know all of this that's in here. And this report, ties this bill and this bill. It compiles the list of horribleness that is coming out of not only Tallahassee, but also Nashville, Austin, Texas. I mean, all these red states around the country that are only doing these things for their own political ends. There's no reason to stop people from having healthcare, whether it is pro-choice people looking for reproductive rights, whether it's trans adults or trans minors looking to have their treatments, so many things along the way. We're all just political pawns for these people. So the fact that we were able to get this study to sort of lay it out piece by piece by piece and connect all the dots in one compressed area, one compressed study, is really good for us, so we can look and go, no, this and this and this, so we don't get distracted, because that's what they do. They say, oh no, we're gonna distract you with this, and then over here we're gonna distract you with this, and they flood the zone with terribleness. And this is a good first step. Now we need to take it, show it to courts, and say, look, this is not right, and this therefore it is also not constitutional.